Hello and welcome to this week's Music Show on France 24. I'm Marjorie Hache and I have the pleasure of welcoming two guests. French-Canadian neoclassical pianist Alexandra Stréliski is an award-winning musician who is used to playing sell-out tours where her showmanship draws as much from Frédéric Chopin as it does from David Bowie. She's currently performing her latest album, Neo-Romance, here in France. We also have Sweden's Hampus Lindwall, who's known for his organ playing and who enjoys experimenting with contemporary music and electronic sounds. He's about to pay tribute to avant-guard composer and filmmaker Phill Niblock, who passed away earlier this year, aged 90. Alexandra and Hampus, thank you so much for joining me on Arts 24. It's a pleasure to have you. First up, were you aware of each other as organists and pianists are kind of in different circles, or was this the first time meeting?
No, actually, this is our first time meeting, but gladly so. Very interesting what Hampus does, and I'm going to discover your universe more. We had a chance to have a little coffee briefly just now, and yeah.
Always good connecting people here at France 24. We like that. Now, I want to know a bit about your relationship with France, because you've both played extensively here. What's it like for you, Hampus, playing in the French land?
That's home for me because I've been living here for over 20 years. Wow. So, and I'm also organist in the Church of Saint-Esprit, where our concert will take place on Monday, since almost 20 years.
And what about you?
So I'm from a French father and a mother from French Canada, so Quebec. So I was raised here. So I did my whole primary school in Paris. I started to learn the piano here as well. And I was trained in a lycée français back in Montreal. So I have a very much a dual nationality. I switched French accent because back home we speak Québécois. And so I think I switched accents like 7 times in my life. So very much in between both.
You're not too infused with the Quebec accent then?
It depends on who I'm talking to.
I understand that. Now, you're today one of, a classical pianist who's been awarded prizes from the Juno Awards, the Polaris Awards, Felix Awards. That's amazing. You've also garnered hundreds of millions, of streams online, which is no small feat. Congratulations. Tell us a bit about you. You started playing the piano at 6. Did you have such a huge ambition for yourself at the time?
Oh, no, I don't think, no, it's not about ambition. I think it's about really connecting with people. And the piano for me was very much a refuge when I was a kid. I think I was feeling lots of emotions and I needed to express it somehow. So it was very much, like my best friend in a way. And eventually I started releasing records. I was doing more film music, advertisement music prior to that. And since I've released my things, people seem to be resonating to it. And I've had the chance to travel and I've gone to see many beautiful things.
That's fantastic. Your latest album, Neo-Romance, it explores a shift between depression and sadness, but also love and burgeoning love. How about we check out the track, Breach? Breach, taken from Alexandra Stréliski's latest album, Neo-Romance. I hear this track is particularly special to you. Can you tell us why?
Yeah, I mean, all tracks are special, to be honest. This video clip was shot in Les Îles de la Madeleine, which is a little island on the shore, on the east coast. And you got in neoclassical, you have to have these clips with nature, apparently. So this was it.
On brand.
Yeah, but I like the idea of the breach because my previous album also was very much in a moment of kind of existential crisis, and I like the concept of having. I mean, I always quote Leonard Cohen on this. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in.
Yeah.
I love this concept. I think that, and I guess the breach is also in that lineage of finding hope through times that are a bit confusing and just looking for that little breach of light.
Very comforting. Talking of light, you're going to be shedding some Hampus on the 25th of November with Stephen O'Malley at the Église du Saint-Esprit here in Paris, and it's a show that's a tribute to Phill Niblock, who's a minimalist composer and filmmaker who worked, amongst others, with jazz player Sun Ra, but also experimental rockers, Sonic Youth. Can you tell us in a nutshell a bit more about this character?
Yeah, Phill was an amazing character. So he's from Indiana, and he studied economics, and then he was really interested in photography and filmmaking. So he moved to New York, and he was mostly documenting jazz musicians. And he didn't start composing until he was around 35, and it was because he was driving his motorcycle. He was like a biker, and he was driving through the Appalachian Mountains and happened to be behind two of these huge diesel trucks that was like vroom, 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 with the two motors almost at the same frequency. And he got so interested in these vibrations, so he started to apply this to composition. And he never studied composition or music formally. So this was his into it. And then he was just experimenting with this for years and years and years. And that's how he became famous as a composer.
And that's what attracted you to him as well, that sound.
Exactly. It's a very unique sound because there were other people like Lamont Young, who is his age more or less, who are more mathematically using tuning, for instance, whereas Phill is more intuition, I would say, and very close to things that we would know from rock music or so, and I think that's what attracted me too.
Well, an artist who truly blends sound and film. Back in 2019, a documentary was made about Phill Niblock, Niblock's sound spectrums within Invisible Rivers. Here he is explaining how he got into playing with images as well as music.
I started doing photography in 1960 and was fairly quickly working at a quite good rate. And someone gave me a darkroom, a used darkroom, so I began to actually print myself, which I think is really a key to doing still photography. And then I began to make films in 65, and by 66, 67, I was shooting pretty consistently. In fact, doing so much film that I pretty much stopped doing still photography.
A glimpse of Phill Niblock, who will be celebrated this month here in Paris. Hampus, you and Stephen, you're going to be performing tracks that he actually composed for both of you individually. Tell us more.
Yeah, also as you saw here, you hear this little sound behind, and I think as nobody put it better than Tom Johnson actually, who said about Phill Niblock in the 1970s, he said, no harmony, no melody, no rhythm, and no bullshit. And that's really what Phill Niblock's music is about. And when I got to know him and we started to work together, we kind of, he wrote one piece for me that I premiered in the Musica Festival in Strasbourg in 2019, and we also recorded this together with another piece. A little bit later, I think during the pandemic, Stephen O'Malley was working with him on a piece for the electric guitar, and that's what he's going to perform also on Monday, which is an incredible piece as well, Poom.
Oh, well, that's very, very exciting. I was wondering also about you. How much do you like to play with image? Is that something that you think of? Do you have images come to your mind when you're composing yourself?
Not really. I'm really interested I have a great interest since I was very young in visual arts, but I'm not relating to it in any sense.
And I've got another interesting fact about you, Alexandra. On your YouTube channel, I saw you have sort of tutorials that would make one think of Guitar Hero. It's like how to play the piano and how to play your actual pieces, including your new album. Why did you come up with that? I read that you were trying to make it less elitist, classical music.
Yeah, I mean, I started my career, I was giving music on Bandcamp. People could pay what they wanted. Now, ever since now I have labels, they don't like that as much. But yeah, I've always liked the approach. You know, I was very classically trained in McGill Conservatory in Montreal, so quite rigorous studies. But you know, I always think of people who can't read the notes. I wasn't the best reader myself, and
Same.
and yeah, and you know, it's some people just like to learn this way, and I like the approach of democratizing classical music in a way. It's not a mission, I would say, but it's something that I definitely value, that we don't have as much, you know, how would you say, like barriers between styles. And in my halls I have people of all diversity and ages, and I think that's very important, actually,
To
to
open
build
it
bridges.
up. Yeah. What about the organ playing? Because that's also something that's probably seen as in its own niche. Do you try and make it accessible or enviable?
We do, actually. I mean, I also think that I've been doing this for a long time now, and pretty much laid out groundwork for many. Now there are many people that are younger than me that has a lot of success, like Kalle Malone that you have had here recently too, and Ellen Arkbro and many people. So I think it's different times for this, but now organ has a very great momentum, I would say.
Well, thank you both so much for coming on France 24 and Arts 24. We're going to play out with the Irish rockers U2, who will be releasing this week a shadow album to their 2004 record, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. It revisits tracks recorded back then and is subtly titled How to Reassemble an Atomic Bomb, a way of keeping fans satisfied until next year or whenever they decide to release their next album.
Stop talking, I'm talking to you.